I've been chanting Hare Krishna since 1975, and I was fortunate to meet the Hare Krishna devotees. And when I was actually before then, I used to see them chanting in the streets. I saw them chanting on our college campus. And it looks very peculiar at first, but I became attracted to the chanting. And it's the chanting is not understandable from the material platform. You can't understand why chanting some syllables can awaken your spiritual life. But actually this sound vibration touches the soul. These are names of Krishna, names of Radharani. And this vibration connects our soul again with Krishna. And the soul begins to awaken. In the material world, we're so lost. We've forgotten our home, we've forgotten who we are, where we've come from, what we're doing. And we're just absorbed in this material life. We think that we're this body and that this life is all there is. But this chanting awakens the soul to its actual remembrance of its real self, of our remembrance of Krishna, that we had a relationship with Krishna. And that's the most precious thing to us. So I would encourage you all who have begun awakening your own spiritual life to share that with others, to go out in the streets. Actually, Mahaprabhu took it out in the streets. First he was chanting just at Srivasangam, but then he took it out in the streets. And when you do this, you'll see people become awakened. Some people become disturbed at first because they don't want to become awakened. But they awaken their spiritual life. And by doing this also, Lord Chaitanya becomes pleased with you. The Lord will bestow great mercy upon you for making the sacrifice to go out and give Krishna consciousness to others. Actually, we can't awaken our own Krishna consciousness without being merciful to other people. A very important part of our spiritual awakening is the development of our own feelings of compassion. And because we have been saved from countless births, countless useless births by Krishna consciousness, so that should awaken compassion in us, and that's an important part of our own growth in spiritual life, is to share with others, to make that sacrifice. It is a sacrifice. It's not always so easy. Although we're chanting and dancing, still, who chants and dances in the street? It seems very strange. But by making that sacrifice, then the Lord becomes pleased with you, and your own feelings of compassion and gratitude awaken, and it propels you in your spiritual life. I had a very interesting story. The first time I went to the Ukraine, I think you say Ukraine, they organized a Harinama party in this one town. I think it was in Simferopol, just in a park. And the Harinama party went out to chant, and there actually weren't very many people there. So Niranjana Maharaj, he kind of mildly chastised the organizers of the event. Why didn't you find this more populated place where there were more people? But anyway, we were there, so we had our Harinam, and it was very nice. Many people came. But afterwards I found out that there was one young man who had joined Krishna consciousness. This was during the communist era in Ukraine. And he was a very young boy. This was many years before. He had come to Krishna consciousness. He lived in the temple. And then his father was a KGB man. And so anyway, he had to leave. And anyway, so many problems were there. And finally his father was killed, and later on his mother died. And this young boy who had started becoming a devotee, he completely forgot Krishna consciousness, and his life became full of suffering. And he was in so much distress that finally he decided to commit suicide. So he came that day to that park with the idea to hang himself. But then he heard the Harinam party. And his Krishna consciousness was awakened, and he came back to Krishna. So I could understand from that we didn't know why we were in that park, but Krishna made that arrangement just for that soul, actually for so many souls, but for that soul to again come to Krishna, that its life could be changed. So we don't know what we're doing when we go out. We don't know what will be the fruit of our chanting and who will be benefited. But undoubtedly there's great benefit, and these things are all being arranged by Krishna. When you take part in the chanting, then you become part of Krishna's plan, and Krishna just moves you. Krishna acts through you, and you see wonderful things happen. So I'd encourage you to take part in that. So the other question is that how can we think when we're chanting? Of course, we can just chant with our mouth and just be mindless, and that chanting is not unbeneficial, but more importantly, we should realize that the ultimate purpose of this chanting is to connect us to Krishna, to reawaken our love for Krishna. So if we have that focus while we're chanting, then it will be very powerful. That we're not just mindlessly mouthing some words or saying some mantra, but we're actually connecting with Krishna, we're actually connecting with Radha. When we say Hare Krishna, they're present, and we can think of serving them. We can think of developing our love for them. So I'd encourage you to chant with this feeling of connection, thinking of Krishna, thinking of your deities, and chanting for them, chanting for their pleasure, and praying for service. Srila Prabhupada said that this chanting is like the child calling for its mother. So it's a helpless call. We're actually helpless in the material world. We may think that we're powerful, that we have some ability, but actually our lives can be finished at any moment. We're just little specks in the universe. So we can take shelter of Krishna in this chanting. We can be connected with Radha and Krishna. We can feel their shelter and pray to them for service. If the chanting is done with that mood and with that feeling, then it will be very, very powerful, and you'll experience Krishna's presence in the chanting. So I wish you all success in your spiritual journey. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.